What is up, everybody? Isaac here, Civil Engineering Academy. Excited to be with you on another podcast episode. I'm excited to bring this guest on, Ryan Turley. He is a student of our course, the Ultimate Civil FE Review course. He found himself staring at taking this exam 5 times. As a repeat taker, I wanted to get his journey into how he combated all the mental, throwdown of having to repeat this exam over and over again. How did he get over those hurdles and the mental challenges of doing this? It's a very inspirational story, one I think you could relate to, whether you're taking it your first time or your 5th time like Ryan, and you want some motivation to keep you going. Ryan questioned everything about whether this is the right career choice for himself, thought he was not a great engineer. All of those things came into play. And so I talked about his journey. He ended up finding us, Civil Engineering Academy, via the podcast. I'm glad to hear somebody's listening to this out there in the world. So that's always good news. And found us listening to the podcast. We brought him on after he ended up passing his FE exam. He joined our course and we helped him get that thing done. But sometimes it just takes a little bit of motivation or someone to encourage you to keep moving forward, because half the battle on passing these exams can be the mental challenge of doing so and our attitude in coming into the exam, especially if we are repeat takers. And I've harped on that quite a bit in the past. But in any case, this is Ryan Turley's story. His journey is fantastic. He is from Tennessee. He went to a new university called Harding University in terms of a civil engineering program, and was able to learn a lot going there, and now works as a civil engineer and is aiming towards getting his PE license. Anyway, there's a ton of information. I think it's very inspirational, whether you're taking your FE or PE exam, or just want to hear one person's journey into what it takes into passing an exam after repeated attempts. Anyway, that's a long intro. Thanks for being here. We encourage you to give us a comment, give us a like, share it with a friend, and check out our resources at civilengineeringacademy.com. If you need help on your journey to become a professional engineer, we got your back. So check us out. And with that, we will get right to the episode. See you in a minute. All right. We are live. We're rocking and rolling. Ryan, thanks for joining me on the Civil Engineering Academy podcast. I appreciate you doing this with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be good. So I always start these out just talking about your history. Like, so what is your history? Where are you working? Why did you find a path into civil engineering? How did you end up here?
Yeah. So we'll start from the beginning and go from there. I grew up and going to school, and I really just enjoyed math, and that's kind of the spark plug, and that kind of started everything. That was really the only subject that I enjoyed and wanted to learn more and pursue. And I was pretty talented in math. And so I was looking into what I should do with that. And I didn't really want to sit around and be a teacher for the rest of my life. And I have a lot of teachers in the family. So that was definitely an option. And my sister was doing math major, and I didn't really just want to do math. And so my dad one day came home and was like, "Hey, I'm going to Harding, and they have this new program. It's called Civil Engineering, and it starts your freshman year, and you'd be the first graduating class." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool. I'll do that." And so I just kind of dove into it. Didn't know anything really about civil engineering at that point. And so I just went and started and did 4 years, and then got a job here just south of Nashville doing land development, wastewater, water, stormwater, all that type of stuff right now at a small engineering architecture company. It's a small company, so I work right under the professional engineer, which gives me really good experience with all types of projects and working through getting a rezone to getting preliminary plat and all that stuff. And so we do a lot of different things, which helps me figure out what I'm good at and what I enjoy in land development. So that's kind of how I've gotten to this point where I am now. So
how did you end up in land development? Was there a contact?
Yeah.
What was that? Why was that the interest?
Yeah. So I think I was just knowing I wanted to move to Nashville with one of my friends. And so I just started applying to any company that I saw, and this was the first one that reached back out to me. And so I was like, that's kind of been my whole journey, is just like kind of going for it and then seeing what I like. And I've started to really like this part of it. Having a lot of contact with clients, having a lot of contact with the city, and making the city that I live in become a better city to live in, and I can really help with that. So that's kind of what drew me to land development, was just getting a job and then getting my feet wet and going for it. And it's been really fun. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll be a land developer yourself, make some coin.
Yeah.
So
it's a hard profession. I enjoy the civil engineering part of it. So
nice. Well, awesome. So I want to back up just a little bit. You went to a school that just opened up the civil engineering program.
Yeah.
And
so
what was that like?
Yeah. So there was 2 professors my first year, and those 2 kind of went through the program, and they came from working in the field to becoming teachers. And so there was a hard line there where we were trying to figure out how to learn from them. They were figuring out how to teach and make exams. And so there's a little like learning curve in there. But overall, like, I think the engineering, the mechanical engineering was already there at Harding. And so a lot of those teachers did a lot of our basic engineering classes. And then the program has grown a lot, and they've added another professor, and it's growing. And so it's a really good program. And it was fun to be a part of the first class, a lot of learning, and learning with the teacher too, I feel like. So a lot of teaching ourselves and working together with my cohorts. So yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So a lot of schools require that you pass your FE exam in order to even graduate. So was that a requirement, or was that something you could do after?
Yeah.
Where did that fit?
So they required us to just take the FE exam. And so I took it the first time, didn't pass. And I was like, I want to get this over with, since I've been in school, I know this stuff. And so that year, I jumped into, and I did it again, second time in the middle of my last semester, and didn't pass again. And so I was like, I'll do this one more time. I have a little bit of time, trying to study for finals, study for the FE exam at the same time. And I thought I'd pass that one, didn't pass. And so then after that, I already had a job in between those, taking those 3 exams. So before the second one, I already had a job lined up. And so they didn't require that I pass it for the job. And so I was like, I want to pass it just to get it over with. Still didn't pass it before I graduated. And then I just pushed it off. And I was like, this exam is 110 questions. It honestly kind of was scary to me at that point. And I was like, I'm just going to push it off, get into my job, really just dive in and work every day, and just kind of push it off as far as I can. And then at the start of the new year in 2023, I was like, I'm going to do this goal. I'm going to pass the FE exam in 2023. And so that was a goal I set for 2023. And so I got into the school PE class, and I took that class for 6 months, took it in May of 2023. And I walked out of that exam with my head held high. I went and talked to my boss. I was like, so like, which PE exam do I take? Like, really thinking I passed it. And I felt really good walking out, and got the results back and didn't pass it again. And I think that's when I hit rock bottom, because I was like, man, I don't know if I could have done any better on that exam. And maybe it's just like, it's not in the cards for me. I just remember crying to my mom and just being like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to be a civil engineer. Like, I really enjoy my job, but if I can't pass the exam, like, it kind of you hit a dead end with civil engineering. And so I was really considering like maybe doing something else, teaching, going back to teaching, coaching, something like that. And then I heard Nick Saban talking, actually, and he was like, don't waste a failure. And that really stuck with me. And I was like, I don't want to waste this failure of failing this exam. I want to learn from it and kind of do better the next time. And throughout the summer, I was just done studying, didn't want to do anything. And then I heard that that quote, "Don't waste a failure," in the beginning of the fall. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pass this exam. And so I I was really just wanting to become a better civil engineer. That's kind of what came of the summer, and reflecting on not passing the exam, and kind of that failure pointed out to me, like, I'm not becoming a better civil engineer when I studied for that exam. And so then I was like, I'm just going to become a better civil engineer. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. And so I drive 45 minutes to work and back. And so I listen to podcasts all the time. And I was like, I'll just listen to like a civil engineering podcast, become a better civil engineer, start by just learning about civil engineering in whatever way, learn it from transportation engineers or whatever it might be. And that's when I happened upon the Civil Engineering Academy podcast. And I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, some of these people have like taken it 5, 6, 7 times, and then they eventually passed it, and they've been talking up Civil Engineering Academy. I was like I started to learn some stuff on that podcast and being like, okay, I think this is a good route to go. And then I heard someone say they sent you results, and you kind of looked at them and helped them out with that. And so then I was like, I'll do that. So I sent you an email and sent my results to you. And we jumped on a call in August. And you're like, Ryan, you're like 2 or 3 questions away. Like, if the ball fell the wrong, like kicked the wrong way and it fell the other way, you probably would have passed it. So that gave me a lot of confidence to get back into it, start doing practice exams, practice questions and everything. And so that's kind of what the journey that I took to take it. And it was interesting after I took it this time. I remember talking to my fiance and being like, I don't think I passed that thing. Like, I don't know if I really actually did it. Like, I don't think I did any better than last time, so I would be surprised if I did it. And I kept thinking in the back of my mind, I heard someone on your podcast, I think it was like, when they didn't pass it, they were like, I think I know everything that I didn't know. And that's kind of how I felt with that exam, where I walked out of the one I passed and was like, I don't think I passed it, but I think I know everything I didn't know on that exam, because everything I didn't know, I actually couldn't get it right. And so I think I knew a lot more than I actually did. And so that's kind of my journey. It took a long time to get to this point. So there's a lot of
There's a lot to unpack there. There's so much there. That's so cool. I'm so happy for you. I remember when you sent me your results, and then we had a chat about it. You could see that there was some progression there, and yeah, I do recall you were you were very close, but it's really hard to determine that when you're kind of in the weeds of it all, especially when you feel like you did well with it. I had a similar experience with my own PE. Like, one time I took it and I felt really good about it, and then you just get slapped in the face.
Yeah.
So I love that quote though, from Nick Saban. So make sure we get that in our notes, man.
Yeah.
Don't waste a failure. And that's really for anybody out there. We've helped a lot of people that fell. I feel like we kind of find people that fell, and they end up finding us as people in the trenches. But so happy that you were able to connect with us and share this experience.
It's definitely a good place to come to just become a better civil engineer, and learn about civil engineering and the different aspects of it that you might not be doing in your day-to-day work. So I really have enjoyed that part.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask just right off the bat, like, this has been just a mental showdown for you, and an emotional one too. And it probably feels like you were wasting a lot of money and time and effort every single time you were doing this. So what, I mean, you kind of told us already, but is there anything that you would share with others out there that are in the same boat, struggling to get over the hurdle of this? They hate the NCES. It's they're starting to think they're a bad engineer, that maybe this is not, just like you said, not the path. And so what tips, what advice, how would you tell people to keep getting after it?
Yeah, I think it's just it is a mental battle with it. And I did like hit that point of like, I'm just over this exam. Like, it's impossible to get all these right. It's impossible to pass this exam. And I'm not particularly good at taking exams. And so that was one thing that I had to kind of just push through, and just kind of work at that, and kind of get over the mental hurdle of like, I'm a perfectionist in a way, and I want to get all the questions right. And when I have to skip a question that I don't know, I start getting frustrated, and that just is a snowball effect. You just keep going down that road and keep being like, man, I can't get that one. I can't get this one. And just like, it becomes a snowball effect in your mind. And so I kind of had to work on that just mentally of, I'm not going to get all this right, and I'm going to work hard to get them all right. But if I can't get one right, don't let it bother you and affect the next one. And so that's kind of one thing that I had to work around when preparing for the exam. But I think for me, it was just working on practice problems really helped me. I feel like going through all the I went through all the practice problems for Civil Engineering Academy that they give you. And I mean, some of those subjects have like 100+ pages in the PDF. And I worked through all of them and worked through a lot of them 2 or 3 times. And even the structural part where I wasn't very confident in, I just kept doing the same problems over and over, and just repetition. And I think kind of what helped me get through that, to get to the point of wanting to take it again, was just like, this is another step in my career, and it's a part of my story, and kind of accept that, because there are people that I know that have passed it the first time and it was kind of a breeze to them, and that's just not my story. And I know I had to kind of accept that and be like that's just not me, and I'm gonna have to work a little harder, kind of take pride in working harder for it, and actually learning the material, and not just going through the motions of watching videos on it, and like actually learning it and become a better civil engineer. And I think that's like, I wanted to become a good civil engineer because I enjoyed my job. And so I wanted to become a better civil engineer. And that's kind of what helped me get to that next point of starting to study again. Because I definitely hit a point of like, I spent all this time, I lost a lot of sleep because I would get up super early to study before work. And like, I lost a lot of sleep, said no to a lot of social events. And I didn't pass it. Like, is that even worth it? Like, I would have rather slept in and gone to a lot of things with my friends, and that I had to say no to. But it was worth it at the end once you pass it. And I just remember I got an email from them saying my results were in that morning, and I had like a lunch set up with my fiance that day. I was like, I'm not waiting to look at this exam results until she's around. And so then I opened them, and I just remember jumping around and running around, just so excited. And like that burden, that weight on my chest was just lifted. And so I think finding Civil Engineering Academy really helped me out with that. So
that's awesome. Now we're going to dive into that a little bit. I wanted to ask because people that find themselves repeating, sometimes they'll come and ask what they should change in their approach the next time they take it. So I'm curious what your opinion is, having taken it for a few times. What changed in each of those approaches? And maybe maybe diving into the nuts and bolts here, but like, did you push off the exam to take it like way into the future, or did you try to retake the exam as soon as possible? Like, what tips would you have for somebody that maybe has failed 2 or 3 times? What are they looking at for a change of approach? How did you do that? And how did you schedule your exam?
Yeah. It was more just kind of what I was feeling. And it wasn't like a science or anything like that. I didn't really have a plan going forward after that. After I took it, a year after I took, right after college, I took it another time a year after that. and outside of college. And after I didn't pass it there, I just had to take a break because I was studying and pushing really hard, and I was excited to be done with that. And I wasn't really preparing to pass the exam during that time. I think there's a little shift there that I really made. Like, I was excited to be done studying and enjoying my time and enjoying summer, because I took it right before the summer, and I was excited to be done studying. And then this next time that I took it, the one I passed, I was excited to take the exam, and I wasn't excited for the time that I would have back on my hands. I was excited to take it and show everything that I learned and that I studied for. And it's kind of that mindset shift of just being done and getting it over with, instead of like taking that opportunity and making the most of it. And that's kind of the mind shift that I kind of took with the next exam. And honestly, I just jumped on the 6-month plan for Civil Engineering Academy. And I was like, I'll probably take it at the end of that 6 months and see what happens. And I didn't really have a plan on when I wanted to take it. And it was just kind of what I was feeling. And I took the 3 practice exams that I had for Civil Engineering Academy. And I did really bad on the first one. And then I took the second one and I got like an 80% on the second one. I was like, that was the first time my whole studying that I was like, wait, I can actually pass this exam. Like all the way up to that, it was like, I think I could pass this exam. I never got to the point of like, I think I can actually pass this thing. And when I got an 80 on that practice exam, I was like, shoot, I can actually do this. And then I took the one online that you guys have, like the exact one that has split screen and everything. And I failed that one. I butchered it 2 or 3 weeks before I took the exam. And I was like, it's fine. Like I've done bad on practice exams before. And I just felt like that exam was a lot harder than the other ones that I've taken. And so that's kind of what happened. I failed one practice exam, passed another, and then failed another. And so, but after that one, I felt prepared because I knew all that stuff. Like I knew some of those questions. And I've taken it so many times that I kind of know the questions that will be asked on the exam almost. And so I knew like some of those practice exam questions. I was like, I don't think those are kind of too direct in that direction, and like kind of analyzing it and just trying to make me feel a little better about not passing that one. But in the end, like I did a lot of practice problems, and there's really nothing that I didn't see that I didn't know. So.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. So what, in your opinion, makes the FE such a challenge?
I think it's just the combination of all your 4 years of college in one exam. And that's just, it's hard to comprehend how much that is. And it's trying to describe it to people. It's like a word problem math exam for 110 questions. It's not, it just keeps going, and it's just time consuming. And I think for me, it was slowing down and like actually doing the problems. Like a lot of times I try to take the easy route, and a lot of times it's just do the problem. And if you have an idea of where to go with the problem, just do it and see where it takes you, instead of, I think it goes this way, but I think I can do it easier just like typing it in my calculator real quick and doing it. And it took me some time. Like I even finished with 15 minutes left on this last one. And so like take your time and like focus on the little stuff. And if you think it's through one equation, just do the equation. And if you think it's going to take you a long time to do that equation, just do it. And you're probably on the right track if you just trust your studying, trust your practice problems. And so trust your instinct for sure on those questions. So
that's awesome. Yeah, great advice. Was there any, people always wonder if the exam's tricky. So I'm curious, like, did you have a lot of alternative item type problems thrown at you? Was there theory thrown at you? What do you think was tricky?
Yeah, there were actually some tricky ones on there, I feel like. And that's kind of when I walked out, I knew which ones were the tricky ones. And so I think that's what was hard when I walked out. I was like, I didn't know this question because it asked it this way. I never heard that before. And so I think there were definitely some harder ones. And I think that's intentional because I think NCEES doesn't want everyone to be able to pass this exam. And so you kind of have to use your civil engineering knowledge. And like, as an engineer, we make a lot of smart engineering assumptions. And so I think the exam pushes you to kind of use that part of your brain. And so there's definitely some tricky ones on the exam. So,
okay, good pointers.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited. I mean, I think it's awesome that not only did you take another course, but you found us and finally got over the hump to get over the thing. What did you enjoy the most about Civil Engineering Academy's FE course?
I think the little videos, just for each section, is like an hour-long video. So it's not like you have to sit there for a really long time and take in every little detail of each subject. It's kind of a broad overview of each subject. And I think that's really what I was needing at that time, was just a broad, quick, like, here's some pointers on this one. And then going into the practice problems, they have video for each practice problem. And so a lot of times I would do the practice problem, and like if I couldn't follow the answer on the PDF, then I would go to the video problem, and they would explain like where they got this equation, where they are, what assumptions are they making there that I didn't know I needed to do. And just someone talking to you about that specific question really helped me, instead of just seeing like the red lines on the PDF of like, use this equation from this page and then this one, and you just solve the question. You just solve it because it's the answer. But then someone making a video and saying, this is where I did this, and this is where I got this, and kind of explaining the step-to-step process really helped me out. Really just helped me. I feel like all the practice problems were like straight from the exam. It seems like, I don't know if they were, but it definitely seemed like that. And someone talking you through all those problems really helped.
That's great. Well, we try to align ourselves with the exam, so it's good to hear your experience.
Yeah.
We're in the ballpark, so that's good to know. How valuable is it for engineers studying for this? Like, what was your practice exam experience like? Did you take those like homework, or did you actually like time yourself a certain amount and put yourself in a pressure situation to do that? I know our CBT exam, definitely we set that up to look just like the real exam, but I'm just curious what your exam experience, what you would share with people.
Yeah, so I just took them on a Saturday when I had some time to take it, and I set out the specific 6 hours, set aside 6 hours, and I did half the problems and then took a little break. I think my breaks were a little longer than what they let you, but I kind of got distracted during those breaks. But then
we know you're human.
And so then I did the next 3 hours, or I usually spent more time on the first part than the second part. And so I kind of just did the first half and then did the second half, but I wanted to make it exactly like the exam. And so like Saturday, I like sleeping in, but those Saturdays I woke up when I would usually wake up, drank coffee and like ate breakfast. What I would do on the exam day, just make it as much like the exam as possible. And knowing that I would have to drive 15 minutes and being ready 15 minutes before I was going to take it. And starting at 8 a.m. like I did for the exam, just trying to keep it as much as the exam as possible, and just feeling out how I feel at some points and maybe where I need to do it quicker or slower, because sometimes I finish like with an hour ahead of schedule. I was like, man, I did that too fast. And so like learning the time, I think, is a big part of it. And so taking those practice exams, I really tried to make it like the exam and take the exact amount of time that they usually allot you. So
that's so awesome. So having passed this huge exam, I'm curious how that's impacted your confidence as a person and as an engineer.
Yeah, it definitely has given me a lot more confidence in what I do every day, and just giving me more confidence in my everyday work of making assumptions and being like, I am a good civil engineer, and I can do good things in I actually know what I'm doing, it seems. That's the confidence that it kind of gave me. It also gave my boss more confidence in my abilities and has opened up a few more doors of leading meetings and stuff like that. And so he's kind of given me more, I've earned more confidence in him. So that's kind of opened up doors too. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's not something we really mention, but if you do pass your FE, it does show confidence in you as an engineer to take on more responsibilities. So,
and you're willing to put in that time to become a better civil engineer. I think it shows to the people in your industry of, man, he's actually going to put in the time and effort to do good work on whatever you might be working on. And so
it's awesome. So what's next for you, Ryan? You got PE on the horizon or what?
Yeah, so we're taking a little break, getting married soon in July, and so I'm going to take a break until after that to kind of start studying for the PE exam, and probably be taking a class, Civil Engineering Academy or something, and diving into it. I'm excited to take it after I finish the FE exam. It's funny how fast my mind changed from like, this exam is impossible to pass to, man, I think I can pass that again. Like, give it, like, the confidence just is there. And so I'm excited to start studying for the PE and like eventually get the license and kind of see where it goes from there. So
we're excited for you. You have a lot to celebrate going on in your life.
Yeah.
So congrats on everything.
Yeah.
We got our FE course up and running. The specs for the PE have changed as of April 1st.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on updates to all that as well. So there's a lot of material out there, but if anyone is interested listening, you can find us at civilengineeringacademy.com. And Ryan, I guess if somebody came to you and asked, hey, what course should I take? Why would you suggest taking Civil Engineering Academy's course?
Yeah, I think with this course, they don't dive into the nitty-gritty details that you might think you need in this exam, that you actually don't really need. And so those hour-long videos for each subject is a good broad overview of each subject. And then with the practice problems, you get into the practice problems, and they're hard problems. And if you work diligently at those, you'll have good results. And just those practice exams as well. Just having more practice exams, I feel like, really helps. I mean, I took 2 with school PE before I took that first one that I didn't pass, and then I took 3 with you guys. And so I've taken a lot of practice tests, and those really do help in the long run, because you have to get used to sitting in a chair for 6 hours, because I don't do that regularly for anything. So you just kind of have to get used to that. And so they have Civil Engineering Academy has very good practice exams to take.
Awesome. Ryan, thanks so much for doing this. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your future. This is the springboard to doing a bunch of other stuff, so it's going to be good.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's fun to share the experience being on the other end, and I hope that my experience can help other people who are trying to take it and kind of hitting that rock bottom like I hit, helping them get back up and move forward. So,
one thing you mentioned earlier is actually putting like pencil to paper, and taking this exam serious. We produce a lot of videos. We put them on YouTube. They're easy to watch, but until you actually try to solve it yourself and put put the pencil down and try to figure it out. It's just not going to happen. So we're here to help you on that journey, but you got to do it. Set the time aside to do it. I guess last question, like how much time do you think you would tell somebody to prepare for this exam?
I think it depends on where you're at and you're studying. And if you've taken it a few times, I don't think you need as much time. I think it becomes a mind game where if I overthought this thing, I don't know if I would have passed it. And so as soon as you're ready, just do it. Just take the exam. Don't wait. I think if you wait any longer, it's going to play with you and you overthink stuff. And that, at least that's how my mind works. And so if you feel ready, go for it. And if you need 3 months, then take 3 months. If you need 6 months, take 6, whatever you feel like you need at that moment. I think I needed a little longer time. It took me almost 8 months to take it again after I didn't pass it. And I think a lot of that time, 3 months of that wasn't even studying. It was just the mind game of, I think, like trying to get out of that slump of, I don't think I can pass this thing. And so if you need that time, take that time, like just stack days on top of each other. And if you miss a day of studying, don't worry about it. Just move on and just stack days. Don't let one missed day turn into 2. And so just study at your own pace and just, I think, trust your mind and trust how you take exams. If you're ready for it, I would take it.
Yep. No one knows you better than you. So you kind of have to be your own judge on when you're ready to take this thing. So
yeah.
Awesome. Great tips, great advice. If anybody does need help, or maybe they want to reach out to you, Ryan, just to commiserate or celebrate, I don't know. Is there a way for folks to reach out to you?
Yeah, I think just LinkedIn is always a good place. And then Instagram, you can find me on Instagram too. So
nice. Yeah. And we're open too. If you want to send results, maybe you're struggling to pass this thing, please reach out. Just like Ryan did, we're here. You can email me too, isaac@civilengineeringacademy.com, and we'll make sure we get the ball rolling for you. But Ryan, thanks for joining me today. This was a good one, and we'll see you later.